Hi Capricorn, this is your forecast for the month of October 2018. This is a general reading for Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Rising, or Capricorn Moon. For a more rounded overview, please watch your rising and moon sign as well. So Capricorn, you want to start this first week of October off doing something new, something that you feel confident or enthusiastic about. This may be a new project that you're involved in. It could be a passionate connection you're making with somebody. But you feel inspired to move forward. You want some change. It could be a new beginning, a new start of some sort that is going to open the doorway for a new life for you. So you are renewing yourself. Maybe you're meeting some new friends. Maybe you're involved in a relationship where things are changing and evolving. Maybe you're working on something creative, or you're trying to find something out and it's producing some results. So there's a lot of energy this week, and perhaps you're very attracted to someone or vice versa. You may have a lot of charisma, a lot of magnetism, or there could be a very energetic spark between you and another person that fizzles out if you don't move on it. So there's, could be some sexual energy that you're focused on. And maybe you're focused on something that's physical between you and another person, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be an emotional situation. This is about, feeling something in the moment and being spontaneous. So there are going to be some sudden changes for you that are going to alter the direction perhaps of your life. Maybe there's some kind of setback or an upset or something unexpected where you come to some kind of terms with your own personal power. You realize that you can handle whatever you're facing, that either you're better off or you're in a much better position than perhaps you expected. And this is a week where what you want, what you desire, what you aspire to, what sparks your passion is going to be important to you. So there are some dramatic changes taking place in how you see the world, and more importantly, how you see yourself. And depending on what that view is, you're going to make some changes in the way you socialize, your behavior, and either you're going to become more available to people emotionally, or you're going to make the decision to close off in some way. Now, positively, you could be getting some kind of boost. Maybe things are moving along financially for you. And because of that, you feel, more at ease. You want to develop your connections with others. It could be that you receive some kind of news or a sum of money, and that allows you to start focusing on your relationships and improving them. But in some cases, something is not delivered. Somebody is backing out of a promise, or maybe this is a project that just can't get off the ground. There's been a false start. And maybe you don't even have the energy to pursue that anymore. There's a lack of passion in the connection or about a project, or something about your hopes just have not been realized. Maybe you're having difficulty getting creative, coming up with ideas, or you feel like you're putting in effort, but that it's been futile or ineffective. So you're focused on your power this week. And, you have to look carefully at your attraction to another person. Maybe this is just superficial. Maybe there's no real depth or intimacy, or again, you feel powerless. Maybe your relationship is suffering because something is going on outside of that connection, some kind of external pressure or other people's problems. And so you may, step into an arena that you're not prepared to move forward on. Maybe all signs are pointing to that this relationship doesn't have the substance or the foundation to move forward, and you attempt to anyway. Or you're looking at the relationship and you think it's smooth sailing, and something happens where you have this aha moment and you're like, this is not going to work. And you close it out, and you do it in a way where both of you are stunned. So for some of you, there's some element working. There's something secretive, something you're not seeing, or something that you're hiding, or, you're stirring up the past, or maybe something needs to come out into the open, but something is being stoked, and you may feel very passionate or emotional about it. Maybe, you're turned off by another person, or your expectations are unfulfilled, or there's some anxiety or disappointment. So either you are revved up and ready to go, or you have decided that this is simply not working. Things have fizzled out. Now, the second week, you may be juggling your options. You may be going back and forth. Maybe you've got multiple connections to somebody, different people, or multiple opportunities. There are a lot of obligations. You're trying to keep those balls in the air. Maybe you're being very impulsive this week, or you're dealing with someone who is. Maybe you're dealing with somebody who is immature, or somebody who is overwhelmed by their obligations or financially. That could be you. So you may be feeling some ups and downs. Maybe, this connects back to that Ace of Wands. Sometimes you're feeling this other person, and sometimes you're just not. Or maybe you don't have enough resources to make that fresh start. Or maybe you're excited, and you've got a lot going on, and you're having to be flexible. So there's some kind of exchange taking place. Maybe you're offering your goods and services. This is something new that you're doing, some project, or you're skillfully manipulating circumstances and changing tides. This could be a week where you have to make that decision. You were ready to go, and now you have to decide what you're going to do. Maybe this involves a gift or some kind of change, a change of your job, change of your environment, change, movement. You're having to adapt. So this is a week where you've got a lot going on. You're having to multitask. And it's possible that you become enthusiastic because something unusual is going to occur that opens some opportunities for you romantically, financially, legal, some kind of unexpected good luck when and where you're least expecting it. And so if that's the case, this is a week where it's easy. You know what you have to do? And you are handling it. You are juggling whatever is necessary because you have a goal in mind. And this is the time where you're really putting an eagle's eye to your future. You want to perhaps restructure your life, make some changes financially, especially if, you have maxed out or there's you're spread too thin. You're focusing on the long range and reviewing how you can stabilize yourself. And you're receptive to some kind of opportunity. And it's going to be important that you listen to your intuition this week. It may mean going in a brand new direction. So for some of you, though, you feel overwhelmed. Something is not getting off the ground. Maybe there's some red tape, or you're not organized, or something is just very complex. There's so many inroads and loose ends and strings attached that you've got to figure this out, and it may feel just too daunting. It could be that somebody's being inflexible about a situation. There's some indecision, or somebody's not trying hard enough, or something you want is canceled or delayed or mishandled. And you may be feeling very restless this week. You want to get going on something. But in other cases, maybe you were over enthusiastic and now you've taken on more than you can actually deal with. There's too much on your plate and you may feel like it's difficult to hold it together. That could be because maybe this is unrealistic. You've been running after some kind of illusion. Now, for some of you, this is a week where you may be trying to avoid the situation. If you have too many demands or you feel overwhelmed or hopeless, you may resort to saying that you're sick as a means of dealing with it. And maybe it's imaginary, maybe it's real, but the goal is to avoid an uncomfortable situation and people that you don't want to face. And for some of you, this is a week where you are stretched to the max, emotionally, physically, financially, and you're having to figure out how you're going to take from one area to compensate for a shortcoming in another area. And again, some unrealistic thinking may result in you feeling some ups and downs in your emotions, depression, irritability, changing from one emotion to the next at any given moment in time. You're making a choice this week and you're trying to figure out your options. What is the best situation for yourself? Now, the third week, you have a major card. So there's a shakeup in the game. Something unexpected is occurring where maybe you're dealing with somebody that is aggressive or somebody is challenging the way you look at a situation. Now, this disruption or interruption to your life situation may come through trauma or crisis or some kind of insight, a revelation, which may initially be shocking. For some of you, you may be dealing with a situation where somebody is having to cope with challenging situation like a sudden illness or a natural disaster, something that leaves you and your environment in a state of shock. In fact, this may tie to the environment. This could have to do with property. So this could be a week where something you were counting on collapses. It was built on a faulty foundation and you're going to have to modify and make some adjustments. It could be an awakening that you're experiencing. You've reached crisis point, or it could be a surprise, some kind of major transformation that actually opens the doorway to freedom. You are released from bondage in some way. This is the get out of jail for free card. So something is happening where there's some unavoidable change and it's happening very quickly. Now, there could have been something where, you again built some unrealistic plans for yourself, and those false beliefs are going to be shattered. They're going to come crashing down this week, or situations that have been corrupt. Now, this can be in either direction. Maybe this is something positive. This is a new job, a new residence, a separation or divorce, which may or may not be welcome. It could be that, you're dealing with an accident or some problems with property, or if you were stretched too thin, you've simply hit the wall, you've run out of money, or maybe you're having a meltdown, or, your freedom is super important. Whatever it is, there is a revelation. You're gaining a new perspective. Maybe some new information is coming in. Maybe you're looking at yourself differently, or maybe you're having to break out of the box and be more original, more innovative, try something new. Whatever it is, this is a time to reorganize your situation. Any part of your life, any behavior that has been blocking your growth, has been keeping you stagnant, places where you have cauterized your emotion and you've become numb to the effects of a situation, that's going to change this week. Something is going to open up, and it may do so in an uncomfortable way. This is a week of revolution, but it's going to allow you to make the most of yourself in your life. You may have to let go of something you still want, something you think you need, when in fact you don't. That belief system is going to be challenged. This could also be a week where there's some ups and downs with regard to your emotions. You may find yourself getting angry. Maybe for some of you, you've got some enterprise. There's an exchange taking place, and maybe it's occurring on the internet. For others of you, maybe there's some health issue, something that, suddenly comes on, a stroke, heart attack, high blood pressure, something sudden, and maybe this is some ups and downs in that. So physically, you could be working against yourself, especially if you're not following the doctor's orders or you're not attending to something in a timely manner. It could be that, you need to adapt more. There's some rigid thinking and you need to break out of that, or somebody connected to you. You need to be more emotionally flexible. So this is a week where knowing your own strengths is going to serve you well. You can accomplish a great deal professionally, materially, if you're willing to rely on yourself, because that's where your success is going to happen. Now, for some of you, maybe you're going in the other direction. Maybe this is some self-imposed captivity, or you are, this oppressive situation is ongoing. There's an inability to change. You may feel restricted in some way. Perhaps there's been a breakdown because of some kind of upheaval or injustice, or somebody is, being very domineering, tyrannical, or there's been a failure to live up to some kind of expectation. So this is you either getting some things in order or experiencing some kind of upheaval. And the message is, don't hesitate, make a move, go with the flow. This is powerful energy that you shouldn't be fighting or resisting against. You should be getting on board and trying to get a hold of, the captain's wheel and driving the situation for yourself. And in some cases, it's going to be easy for you to do that. If you've been doubting yourself, you may come into your own this week. You may tell it like it is. You may put it all out there. So you may be issuing some very strong statements that surprise other people. And this is a week where you're not looking for any BS. You want to know the facts so that you can make a decision to take control of the reins and move your life forward. Because, you don't want to be left out in the open or vulnerable. You want to know what you need to know so that you can provide for your own personal security and the continuity of your situation. Now, some of you may hear something that you don't like. Maybe you're still trying to hold on to something, and you've got this propaganda campaign working and selling yourself with this idea that, well, I'm doing this because this is good for me. This is the best course of action. Even though on some level, somewhere deep inside, you don't really believe that. And so there may be a tendency also to keep people, at arm's length. You're metering out information. Maybe you think they can't handle it. Maybe you think it serves your interest not to let them know the full picture. But that may create a misunderstanding that you'd rather not deal with, because this could also be a week of confrontation, of arguments, of discord. And you may be looking at yourself as a victim. This thing has happened to me. Maybe something is happening for you. So it's not a good week to see yourself as a victim of circumstances, because you played a role in whatever is going on. You have put yourself in this position, as hard as it may be to reconcile that. And, you have to accept in some cases this week that there are some things that are beyond your control. This is a major card. Providence has stepped in. Something was going on just a little bit too long, and the universe has decided to take control. So you could have been working against yourself, working as an enemy to yourself. Now, the last week you have the Death card. So for some of you, there's a strong tie to a Scorpio person. But for others of you, again, this is this upheaval or shocking revelation or new psychological insight, some kind of breakthrough where you're undergoing some kind of major life change or dealing with people who have the power to change your life. And it may come through challenge. And if you are clinging to the past because you're afraid of change, it means that, again, you're going into some arena kicking and screaming. And for some of you, this is about concluding some unfinished business. There is some necessary change that, again, may tie to liberating yourself, leaving the past behind, and it's experiencing some renewal in your life, some sense of empowerment through this change. So you may be cutting people off, cutting some habits off. You may be releasing some things. You're in a transitional stage, the point of which is to revitalize something that may be dead or lost. And you may be grieving this loss. There's some inevitable endings. Maybe, your status has changed in some way, either because you've had to move, you've changed your job, you've changed some way socially, divorce, marriage, separation, whatever the cause. And so, it could even be sexual. For some of you, maybe you lost your virginity this week. But there is some regeneration taking place, hopefully spiritually, where you're letting go of some outmoded attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors. Because for you on the horizon is either an opportunity or a challenge. And you may be confusing which is which. One thing is for certain, your will to survive is extremely strong this week. And you may be breaking free of old beliefs and habits and identities and embracing a new one. And this is the week to do that. Reinvent who you are. Because once again, you're not going to want to be chained in or stagnant or confined or uncertain. You're ready to burn this down if that's what it takes. So you're very security oriented this week and you're willing to provide for yourself. You're very motivated. And you're making whatever changes are necessary. You are weighing your options, the opportunities, the challenges. You're becoming resourceful. You're looking at your finances, your relationships. What can you cut? What can you change? What can you tweak? What's going to be the best thing for your future? And this is a week where you're very flexible. You're open to change. You're willing to go along with the flow and accommodate the unpredictable because you're seeking harmony in your life. You want the upheaval to stop. You want things to fall into place. And this may mean the end of a struggle, making an important decision, or working toward that inner peace that you seek. Now, you could block yourself by being resistant to that change or being stubborn or stuck. You may be focused on the past, and that's all you can think about, the areas of life that went wrong, that didn't work out. And that allows you to ride that, excuse wave and stay stuck. You see, I can't do this because, and if this happened, then I would do this, when that only means that you're closing off opportunities and closing off your connections. You may be building a wall around yourself. Maybe you're dealing with somebody who doesn't want to open themselves up to a new view. They're closing off. They don't want to have the discussion, the dialogue. They'd rather walk out than hammer out the differences to try to reach some kind of compromise. But if you or someone connected to you is staying stuck in denial or not making the changes that could help, then things are not going to move forward. This is about regenerating. And so, you have to be careful of taking an extreme position or turning your back on the future or being satisfied with staying in limbo. And again, you may have to give up what you wouldn't necessarily do by choice. And in the process, some of you may lose a friend or two. But you are regenerating and trying to make strides, either materially, emotionally, physically, or psychologically. And this is the week for you to go deep. In fact, this week may tie to issues that connect to joint finances. It could be issues of sexuality, crisis issues, life-changing events, near death or death experiences, death and rebirth, anything that produces profound change, especially emotionally or psychologically. So this is a week where you find out who you are and who you can be, what your potential is, given the face, perhaps, of difficult circumstances. And if this is, if you don't have Scorpio strongly in your chart, and this is a Scorpio, obviously you won't be making that call. Or again, Providence is at play and there are events unfolding that are beyond you. Now, the underlying energy is this Seven of Swords, which is a very complicated card with a lot of meanings. That's going to be something different for a great deal of people out there. For some of you, this is about the change relocating, or you have a lot of obligations. You're going back and forth, back and forth. Maybe, this is somebody stealing your ideas or wasting your time, or you're wasting your time. A situation is a waste of time. For some of you, this is about being crafty, being ingenious, coming up with a strategy. And for some of you, this is about outright treachery, theft, duplicity, something going on behind the scenes, somebody taking advantage, or somebody not wanting to deal with something, not willing to have that discussion, not wanting to change, and trying to escape a situation. Maybe somebody's insincere, or they're avoiding, or they're trying to go in a roundabout way. So this could be a month for some of you where you feel cheated. You feel like you're experiencing this run of bad luck, or you've been betrayed, or you're just participating in some self-defeating habits that, once again, the tower points to that you played a hand in. For some of you, you're trying to do something under the radar. Maybe you're traveling, or you don't want to be seen, or you're sneaking around to do something. And, the sneaking may be unfaithfulness. It could be a secret love affair. It could be, you feel like what you're doing is futile. Maybe you're running away from a situation. Whatever it is, this is going to be a month where events are going to place you and other people on the spot with regard to integrity. And maybe, your estimation is off. Maybe you think too highly, you place too much confidence in something, or you don't put enough. So this is a month where it's very important for you to take stock of what is being put out there. You're going to get some shocking revelations, some insights, some new information. And so you have to be careful about what you are buying into and also what you are saying. This is always a warning card about stealing from yourself, wasting time, your energy, your money, your emotions, your efforts, your talents, your feelings in non-productive relationships and pursuits. And again, people can steal from us in any number of ways, taking up your time, trying to pick your brain, trying to take your thoughts, your brain bank, and cash in on it. Now, this could also be a month, though, where you had this startling realization that you are better off. You had this aha moment where you're like, I don't want to be part of that. And you diplomatically back out of a situation and not get involved in something that doesn't concern you. And this could be a month where, people are very out there, upfront and open. People that have been evasive or have a tendency to be secretive or unreliable or flat out lie, they may be more willing to release something and tell you the truth. If they haven't kept a promise in the past, they may actually show up. Or if they've been evasive, you've had a hard time catching up to them, they may make themselves available. Or perhaps you may do that. Now, for some of you, this Seven of Swords is a liaison. This is a go-between. Somebody is going to introduce you to somebody or open the doorway. They're the connector between you and a person or circumstance. And, you may realize ultimately that you're not as bad off, that you haven't fallen as behind as maybe you thought. Or this connection, this situation is going to turn out better than you had hoped. And so this is, again, a month where integrity is going to be important, and you're looking at the quality of your relationships and your extreme emotion. The more you care about somebody or the more you dislike that person, the easier those feelings are going to get in the way and undermine your true objective if you allow them to. Now, you may be trying to escape. You may be trying to go under the radar, get away from something because you want some solitude. You want to shake things up. You want to break away from the pack. Maybe you're seeking some sanctuary, or you're trying to re-energize the situation, or you're simply mulling some things over, some new insights, some new information. You're listening to yourself. If this is a health issue, you may need to rest and withdraw. So again, you're having to be careful of your possessions, your health, your safety. And, something that you've said or something you've done may come home to roost during the month. Or if you are trying to get over on somebody, if you've planned a scheme or you're trying to deceive somebody, that plan may blow up in your face. And so this is going to be a month where it's important that you are completely honest. Resist any temptation to distort or embellish or exaggerate the truth. Tell it like it is. Say what you mean what you say. And if you are dependent on other people in some way, maybe financially or as far as their affection or their validation or their opinion, that dependence, that lack of belief in yourself is going to drain you. It's going to chip away at what makes you you. You're going to find your own individuality eroded in some way, and you're not going to be able to effectively stand up for yourself. And so the Tower may mean that somebody aggressive or powerful or domineering may dominate you. Now, this is going to be a challenging month where, again, you're looking at your relationships, your investments in those, and what you're getting out of it. And the things that tie to your security, that provide your stability, that make you feel safe, secure, loved, and wanted. And you're going to want to know where you stand on that because you're working on building a foundation. And the key words for you this month are reorganization and regeneration. You have two major cards. The end of the month is very important for you. There could be the release of something or the renewal of something. But aside from the Death card, there's very little water in this reading. So there's a lack of sensitivity, of feeling, emotion. And again, the purpose of the Tower card is to shake you up, wake you up where you've closed yourself off to feeling something. And somebody may be putting some changes in place, or they want to, but somebody's putting their foot down. Maybe somebody's very enthusiastic. They're raring to go. And somebody else is playing the role of party pooper. And, there's harmony until there's not. Because, if you're on the same page, it works. But once you part ways in your thinking, now we got a problem. So despite the need for change and the pressure to do so, maybe in some instances very little changes, things remain the same. Now, somebody is having a great deal of difficulty dealing with the reality of a situation that's not to their liking. There could be feelings of confusion, of uncertainty, but fortunately there may be an experienced guide or mentor or advisor that can help. And for some of you, somebody may be recovering from addiction and attending a support group. All right, Capricorn, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Don't forget to subscribe. You can also join me on Instagram, at Patreon for extra perks, over at my blog for a daily post. And of course, you can always book a personal reading at thealchemistastrologer.com.